So, morning, everyone. It's lovely to see those of you who are joining live, and then those who are listening to the recording. I hope this is helpful. So, those who are here live, please feel free to either unmute and ask questions or put it into the chat. So, the first oil we're talking about today is oregano, which is a very hot oil. And by that we mean it's quite a potent oil. So it's not one that we ever use neat on our skin or take a drop neat or anything like that. It almost burns if you do. And so if you do by some chance, and I'm like, well, a bottle can be quite oily, and so if you get some on you and it does feel burny, all you do is you take sort of a smear of coconut oil of sorry, I'm just getting something to drink. Of thicker coconut oil and put it on, or any sort of oil, olive oil, any sort of oil that would dilute it, and it will dilute it instantly. So the properties of oregano are strong, resolving, powerful, and it's a very strong antibacterial and antifungal, antiparasitic, and antiviral oil. So it's our natural antibiotic, and it's very helpful using it in cases against antibiotic resistant bacteria. There may be a whole swing back to oregano and tea tree because of all this multi-drug resistant bacteria that we're seeing, MRSA, that we're seeing in the hospitals. So the top uses for oregano, according to the Essential Life book, which is a lovely guide, are viruses and bacterial infection. Take it in a capsule. Strep throat and tonsillitis, gargle or drop as needed. Staph infection and MRSA, apply diluted to the affected area or take in a capsule. Intestinal worms and parasites, take in a capsule. Warts, calluses, and canker sores, apply diluted with fractionated coconut oil and frankincense directly to the affected area. So we often will make a little blend with tea tree, like 2 drops in just a little sample bottle, 2 ml bottle, 2 drops tea tree, 2 drops oregano, and according to this, you could add frankincense with a little bit of fractionated coconut oil, and you can use that to dab onto your areas where there's a wart or callus or canker sore. And I put that, if I'm recommending it to people, put it next to your toothbrush so that you remember to do it twice a day to use that. Going back to those others where it talks about taking it in a capsule, often we don't just take oregano in a capsule by itself. We can sort of put 2 drops, but I usually will add On Guard. I'll usually add my flute, which is frankincense, lemon, oregano, On Guard, and tea tree, and sort of a drop of each to put into a capsule to take like that. But you could just do 2 or 3 drops of oregano. So it talks about using it for pneumonia and tuberculosis. Apply diluted or neat to the bottoms of feet, and it's always good to look up the reflexology chart to see the chest area, which is sort of the pad of your foot, and that's the reflexology for chest. So applying oregano there. I also quite often, if we've got any bronchial things, oregano is very good for opening up the airways. So I'll often put a little bit of coconut oil and a drop or 2 of oregano and put it onto the chest, and also lime. Lime works very well for any tight chests. So I use those often in combination. It says for boosting progesterone, boosting progesterone for those who are needing a progesterone boost, especially sort of perimenopausally. And that it says take in a capsule. Urinary infection, take with lemongrass in a capsule. So for urine tract infections, we often recommend taking a capsule with 2 drops oregano, 2 drops frankincense, and 2 drops of On Guard. And according to this, actually lemongrass as well is very effective. So I would then add the 2 drops of lemongrass, and taking that at least twice a day for 3 to 5 days. And then I would also put a little bit of coconut oil with a drop of cypress and tea tree and put that on the belly for a urine tract infection. And to help with that burning in the area, using one skin spray, which has got lavender, tea tree, and frankincense in it, and just using that as a spray in the area. It's very soothing and calming and can be very helpful for urine tract infections. Then it talks about using it for athlete's foot, ringworm, and candida. Apply diluted to the area of concern or take in a capsule. So again, just putting a little bit in dilute in coconut oil and putting it sort of where between toes or wherever one needs it for the athlete's foot or ringworm. And carpal tunnel and rheumatism, it says take in a capsule. So it's got a very multitude of uses. And just recently, actually, one of our oil users, Pam, shared on one of our groups, and I'll just read it to you. I've been using doTERRA now for 3 years. The oils played an integral part during a truly traumatic part of my life. I'm now at a phase where I'm using the knowledge I have with my everyday favorites. So 3 weeks ago, I hosted an Asian American family whose children are in the same boarding school as my daughter. Over the dinner table, the conversation goes to essential oils, and the mother, Kathleen, mentions that her go-to oil when things feel unwell and off in the family is oregano. In my community here, our go-to oil is On Guard. Mind you, oregano, with all its benefits, is not my favorite. I just can't stand its smell, especially when steaming. So last week, my beloved housekeeper did not feel great. She was quite unwell, actually. I decided to use her as a guinea pig with the oregano. In a day, she was well, energetic, and up and about, and she totally attributed her immediate relief to oregano. I gave it to her in warm water, 2 drops. In a day, she experienced immediate relief. We keep learning, and the oils keep gifting. So one can use it in warm water. I usually, if I'm taking it orally and not in a capsule, I'll use it with honey. So I'll use a drop of oregano and On Guard and sort of lemon and honey and mix it up, and you can take it like that. And even our son Finn tolerates that. So it's just that oregano, because it's so strong, you want to break it up. So the warm water would help to break it up. But one could also put a drop or 2 on a bit of bread and mulch it up and have it like that, especially if you're away and you're needing to take oregano because you're feeling sick or you're feeling illness coming on. So going to the Advanced Oil Magic book, it's very similar of oregano. It says bacterial and viral infection, take 1 to 3 drops in a capsule for internal use. Warts, apply directly to the wart. You see, this one says it's applied directly to a wart with a toothpick, avoiding the surrounding skin. So because it's a hot oil and you wanted to get rid of the wart, you can put it neat onto the wart, but you're not wanting to affect the surrounding skin. So that's why it says apply directly with a toothpick. Candida and staph infection, take 1 to 3 drops in a capsule. Pneumonia and whooping cough, diffuse 1 to 3 drops sitting near the diffuser for several minutes. Also rub onto the bottoms of the feet. So we found steaming with oregano was very helpful during COVID times. Again, rheumatoid arthritis, massaging 1 drop heavily diluted into the affected area. Also take in a capsule because it's a very warming oil. So it's very good often for arthritic joints. And then strep throat and tonsillitis, gargle a drop in water, also take 1 to 3 drops in a capsule. So it's the oil of humility and non-attachment, because we don't really want all these viruses and parasites and bacteria attaching. So that's why it's so emotionally and physically, it's an oil of non-attachment. So any questions about oregano? Also in this Advanced Oil Magic, it talks about an immunity booster shot, which 2 drops of oregano and 1 teaspoon of raw honey and the juice of 1 fresh lemon, a piece of fresh ginger, and 2 tablespoons of water. Place all the ingredients in a blender and process until smooth. Serve in a shot glass and drink in the morning. So that's 2 drops of oregano, 1 teaspoon of raw honey, a juice of a lemon, a piece of fresh ginger, about 1 inch, and 2 tablespoons of water blended and served in a shot glass, which I think would keep one very well throughout the whole of winter.
But Nikki, I was just wondering, you wouldn't have enough water to blend it. 2 tablespoons of water is not going to blend anything.
No, and the juice of 1 lemon. So that maybe
maybe that yes, the juice of 1 lemon would do it. Yeah.
And then 2 drops of oregano. And even just putting the 1 or 2 drops of oregano in raw honey. I mean, we were doing that last week when Finn had this viral infection, and we weren't sure what he was doing. And it was actually, it's thick, but it's palatable. So it's just adding a little bit with blended up the lemon juice.
Yeah, I found it amazing during COVID. I mean, it did the trick with that staph throat.
Yeah, did it?
That strep throat. The minute I got it, I mean, it was gone within 24 hours, and then I carried on for 5 days.
And did you take it in a capsule, or did you gargle, or
capsule?
Capsule.
But I also used, I think I used Flume.
Okay,
I used the whole thing.
Yes, the frankincense, lemon, oregano, and tea tree.
It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, so that's how we usually use oregano. But I think sometimes we actually underuse it by just sort of thinking it's too hot and too potent. So we sort of mix it with others, and often it's quite good just on its own.
Yes, I'm listening to that and thinking about that. Yeah.
Okay, and then Neroli, which is one of my very favorites. It's on a special this month. I actually bought it last month, so I had no idea that the 10% special was coming. And I separated into my old bottle and my new bottle. So I leave one here on my perfume stand and take one with me in my bag. I just absolutely adore the smell of Neroli. If you haven't smelled it, it's totally delicious and amazing. And I use it, so I really just use it as a perfume. Actually, the qualities are arousing, rejuvenating, and tranquilizing. So it talks about some of the from the Essential Life book, it talks about, and I'll just read some of it. It's got a lot of different things which I actually had no idea really about. I just use it because I love the smell, and I found it so sort of soothing and consoling. So it's interesting that it is tranquilizing. So some of its side benefits are that it's an antidepressant, an aphrodisiac, and it's very good for like nervousness. So it's a neurotonic and sedative. So it's steam distilled this citrus blossom. So if you love the smell of like orange blossom, you'll love Neroli. And who doesn't love the smell of orange blossom? So it's for loss of sexual arousal, impotence, erectile dysfunction, and frigidity. Apply to the area of concern, diffuse, and inhale from cupped hands. So I don't know very much about all of that, but certainly might have arousing benefits, as it said. Chronic and stress-related or nervous depression, elevated cortisol levels, and tension headaches. And diffusing it, inhaling from cupped hands, and applying diluted to the chest, solar plexus, back of neck, temples, and under nose. So just using it as a perfume, it can be very helpful with any stress or elevated cortisol levels. Damaged, dry, wrinkled, sagging, and scarred skin, apply to the area of concern. So it is very good for skin and scarring issues. Another one that is very interesting is heart palpitations, high blood pressure, and seizures. Apply to the heart area of concern. So it's also lovely to know it's very soothing and calming for the heart, and good for hysteria, panic, grief, shock, irritation, and anger. Again, diffusing, inhaling from cupped hands, using across the forehead or to the bottoms of the feet, and also for overthinking, overwhelm, confusion, and distressed thinking. So again, I didn't use it for any of these sort of things, but they all go in hand, the overthinking, the overwhelm, because it's a neurotonic. So it goes on to a few other ones, and obviously it says deodorant, perfume, room freshener. We only have Neroli, I think, in Larola in South Africa at this stage. And then for in the Essential Advanced Oil Magic book, it talks about scar tissue and stretch marks. Massage a few drops of the carrier oil into the needed areas. So it's also a lovely one. Yeah, so I will usually use Immortelle for the stretch marks, but it's nice to know that Neroli is also, one can do that. A perfume, obviously, which talked about cramps and spasms, apply neat to the affected areas. Emotional exhaustion, inhale from cupped hands. Nervousness, apply a drop to pulse points. Depression, wears a perfume, inhale from cupped hands or diffuse. And skin regeneration, apply generously to damaged or worn skin. So emotionally, it's the oil of shared purpose and partnership, and it's unifying and stabilizing. And it's interesting that it's good for libido and things, which is obviously quite unifying, and it's stabilizing, which is because it is a neurotonic. It helps to calm one down, so it's very grounding. So if you don't have Neroli, this is a great month to get it, because it's 10% off, and I promise you won't forget it. I use it all the time. And just very briefly, so please ask if there are any questions, but the other on special is this Yarrow Pom, the body serum, which I use quite a lot. I keep it on my desk, and for these aging hands of mine, I use it on the back of my hands. I use it on my legs to help also with varicose veins. I'll use it at night as a moisturizing lotion. And then there's the spa body lotion, which is also a very nice, just general body lotion without obviously all the heavy chemicals and and toxins that we have in a lot of our creams and lotions and perfumes. So because I really think, and especially seeing so much around us of illness and so many cancers, we have to really decrease our toxic load and be conscious of what we're putting on and in our bodies. So that's just a very brief overview. I'll talk more about Yarrow Pom some other time, but I just wanted to mention those because those are also on a special. I think those were the only, there actually quite a few things that are, let me just double check what else was on special. So any questions? There, yeah, so in August for Women's Month, it's 20% off that hand and body base lotion, and then the Yarrow Pom body serum, and 10% off Neroli. And then obviously that thinker, which we talked about last week, and I keep it on my desk anyway, is free before the 15th for 125 PV order. Is Yarrow Pom more preventative or after? So it's both. I mean, it's very good for sunspots and skin spots and any damage, but it can also, it's a very strong antioxidant. So you can use it as a preventative of dark rings and of wrinkly skin and things like that. I'm not sure if that answers, Cheryl. Yeah, but one can use it for both. So the serum is it's not the same as the thicker Yarrow Pom oil that we use. This is more just a rejuvenating body lotion. It is quite oily. I don't know if you can see the reflection on my hand. So it is quite oily to put on, but it's very nourishing for things like hands and feet and legs, that sort of thing, those areas. Okay. If there are any other questions? Otherwise, I will be back next week on Wednesday and look forward to chatting to you about another oil. I think will probably be frankincense. We'll see what else.
Thank you, Nikki. That was awesome.
Thanks, Mandy. Nice to see you. And it's
Nikki,
always
do you think there's a sorry?
No, I was just going to say it's good for all of us to learn other ways of using our oils.
Yeah, absolutely. So helpful. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Nikki, do you think there might be a chance of doing it on a Tuesday again? Is there any hope for that?
Yeah, there might be. I'm still weighing it up. But the problem is because I've joined the cycling group and they cycle on Tuesdays, but I think from summer they might go back to doing it at 5:30 or 6, which is not going to work for me anyway. So I will so watch the space. Yeah, I'm just still trying to figure out this whole year.
Okay.
And just with having Finn at home and stuff. So that's why I've had to push it to 7:15 my mindful moment.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'll keep
Thank you. That was lovely.
Thanks, Ruth. Nice to see you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.